welcome. Well, this is the week between. The week between Christmas and New Year's is always a funny week to broadcast. And it's Monday, and I have no voice because somehow the Cleveland Browns managed to lose to the New York Jets yesterday. And that's because Roger Goodell hates Cleveland and has hated Cleveland forever since Jimmy Haslam took over the club. And D. Haslam took over the club. He's tormented it in every way possible. So whereas a game that the Ravens had lost too many players for was postponed not once but twice, Goodell says play. Even though the Browns had no wide receivers, 2 offensive linemen out, 2 linebackers down to the COVID, so a grand total of 7 starters gone. They said play. So the Browns played and they lost. They lost to the Jets, which is really doubly terrible. So I have no voice, but it does set up the greatest game possible. Steelers at First Energy next week. Steelers versus Cleveland in Cleveland. The Browns win and they're in for the first time since 2002 season, since January of 2003. So they have the season. Every game has meant something, and great season. So I am dismayed that we had to. But I'm not actually down on Baker. Baker was down on himself yesterday. No one brought it. I like to whine, and give me some cheese if you'd like. I'll take cheese with that wine. I like to whine a lot as a professional football fan. The refs took away a touchdown that everyone saw was a fumble by Sam Darnold, returned for a TD, but the refs decided the Browns were just going to lose yesterday. They got the word from Roger. There is no such thing as the Bilderbergers. There is no deep state. There is no Illuminati. But Roger Goodell hates the Browns. That's actually, honest to God, true. And the word went out yesterday that the Browns were going to be screwed. And so they were. And so now it's all about beating Big Ben in Cleveland. Win and we're in. Then I think we have to win again. Then we win in Steelerland. So it'll be a great next 3 weeks. 5 weeks to the Super Bowl, right? 5 wins and we're done with the season and we can put the crown on and put away the curse. Now, look, this is the week. President signed the relief bill yesterday. I tweeted nothing about it. I always knew he would. President actually cares about people a lot, and he wasn't going to let them go without the unemployment. He would have preferred it be more money. He would have preferred to go out with a $2,000 check per person. He tried to bluff his way through, but everybody in Congress is exhausted, as everyone is exhausted. You got to read Dave Barry's year in review to figure it out. My favorite part of Dave Barry's week in review, or year in review, which is an annual deal. If you go over to WashingtonPost.com, if you're a member of the Washington Post, Dave Barry's year in review is posted there, and I'll send the link out to it. It's worth signing up for the whole year, even though the only way you can get my column is also to sign up. And I haven't written anything. I don't owe him anything for the rest of the year, and I'm not going to. I really kind of slow down and allow Dwayne to come into work. And I got to be easy on Dwayne. Dwayne's going to lose his mom fairly soon here, and he's preparing. I got to be easy on Dwayne this week. So if I'm nice to Dwayne, your prayers are appreciated for him. It's not in my muscle memory, actually. And everybody knows that, and it's kind of a running joke, but Dwayne was making arrangements this week. Dwayne, where were you? Were you making arrangements? Can I tell that story?
What's that?
Can I tell the story? You're making arrangements this week?
Yeah, sure.
So you're off making resting arrangements, final resting place arrangements for your mom. And again, I encourage people to pray for Dwayne and his family. But Dwayne is well known for some reason because he's broken into my bit all these years. He's whenever he come to work, he's shouldered his way into the show.
You want to tell the story, or you want me to tell the story?
Go ahead. You might as well tell the story. But I want to tell you, it's not fair at the beginning. It's just not fair.
Why is it not fair?
Because, look, you're doing it again. You just took over the show again. Go ahead, tell the story.
Everybody knows it's really my show. So I'm making arrangements, and where we think we are going to have my mother's remains resting after she is cremated is put on top of her mother, where her mother is resting. And so I called that cemetery last week and got a hold of whoever answered the phone. I gave them my story. They said, hold on just a second. Randy answered the phone, and Randy had his nice Undertaker voice, his sympathetic Undertaker voice. And so I'm talking to Randy and giving him the update. And he says, well, this certainly can be done. We're sorry for your impending loss. If you'll just give me your email address, we'll give you pricing and all the other logistics. He's talking in this voice. So I give him my email address and spell it out, and he goes, I know who you are. He said, I know you. Hugh treats you horribly on the air. And I said, yes, he does.
That's a slander.
And as soon as he realizes he says this, he realizes, oh wait, I'm at work, and he does this. He goes right back into character. Once again, I'm sorry for your impending loss. We will be with you shortly by way of email. Thanks, Randy.
Look, I've known Generalissimo's mother for 20 years, and my thoughts and prayers are with her.
Mean as a bag of
No,
cut
she's
snakes.
not. She's been nice to me all those years. Sinister Dell, on the other hand, I've always had to walk with him in front of me. I really do. I have to walk with Dell in front of me. And Dwayne, of course, is like a snake in the studio. He's always around trying to undo me. But our prayers are with Mrs. Dwayne. The original Mrs. Patterson.
What? No, not Mrs. Dwayne. No. I've got enough psychological problems without adding that layer onto it.
All right, go away.
No.
So I'm back to Dave Barry. By the way, my phone number is 1-800.
Bad Oedipus nightmare.
Yeah. 1-800-520-1234. I don't treat him badly. Randy doesn't know what he's talking about. 1-800-520-1234. It's Resolution Week. This is something we do all the time. It's a 3-day week for me because we play Dr. Larry Arnn's History of Everything on Thursday and Friday, as those are Salem media days off, and people actually don't want to work on those days because nobody's listening to the radio except at home. They're not driving to work on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So we bring you Dr. Larry Arnn at home so you can get your Arnn fix. But the New Year's resolutions will be broken by the time I get back on the air on January 4th. So I want to hear what your resolutions are after this year. Dave Barry's year in review, which I will tweet out. It's January, February, March, April. That's what it normally is. Except after January and February, he comes up with Marpril. He merges the months, which starts off calmly enough, he notes, as the Democratic Party, desperate to find an alternative to 132-year-old white guy Bernie Sanders, settles on 132-year-old white guy Joe Biden and cruises to a series of primary victories after replacing no malarkey with a bold new campaign slogan, somewhat alert at times. Biden is endorsed by most of his Democratic opponents, including Mike, in quotes, Bloomberg, who spent more than $500 million on this campaign, which seems like a lot of money until you consider that he won the American Samoa caucuses, narrowly edging out Tulsi Gabbard, who spent $13.50. He goes on to say that about that time, he starts using the all caps, "We are all going to die," becomes the theme of the year, and toilet paper. And it just is a long, long sentence that goes on because, in fact, April and May were Marpril. It's just a blur. And the rest of the year is blur. And then he concludes, as all of us concludes, that 2020 is best seen in the rearview mirror. That 2020 is the year that we will tell our children and grandchildren about, and that 2020 is absolutely one long, howling Category 5 crap storm. We sincerely don't want to relive this year, Dave Barry writes, but our job is to review it. If you would want to prefer to skip this exercise in masochism, we completely understand. And he goes on, but if you want a year of nonstop awfulness, a year when we kept saying it couldn't possibly get worse than it always did, this was a year in which our only moments of genuine, unadulterated happiness were when we were able to buy toilet paper. That is for you. And I'll tweet it during the break. But I'd like to know what your resolutions are. 1-800-520-1234. Donald Trump has signed the COVID relief bill. The Congress is going to override his veto of the Defense Authorization Act. Joe Biden is going to take the oath of office on January 20th of 2021. It's going to be a different year. Everybody's moving to Austin and Nashville, despite the explosion in Nashville. Everything is on the move. It's like Grapes of Wrath with 3D goggles. I'll be right back. 1-800-520-1234. Connection to the Hugh